Hey, great day. Welcome to the House of Cons. It's Wednesday, August 23rd, 2023. Hey, salute to the tribe. Salute to Mo Naga. Salute to Bronze Flat Power God. Salute to Lalita in the house. Salute Tribe Buck. Mo Naga in the house. Tribe Buck. Salute. And I hope everybody feeling good. I hope everybody blessed. I hope your family blessed. I hope the whole tribe blessed. Salute. I hope everybody in good spirits and in good health. Yeah, man. We got a little conversation tonight. We're talking Glenn Beck. Glenn Beck done exposed the Smithsonian, Black Native American Hebrew. That's the name of the show. Salute, Tribe Up. And yeah, I like to play with key words, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to pop off in that algorithm, you know what I'm saying? I know we the indigenous, the aborigine, you know, the army indigene, my naga. I know we the primordial, you know, but I use Native American and I use black in the title. Trying to pop off on that algorithm, you feel me? But we know who we talking about. We talking about you, my naga. Yeah, Glenn Beck had a lot to say about you. Glenn Beck say, why is this hitting? Yeah, you got old Glenn fired for telling the truth, my naga. So that's what we titling the show. Glenn Beck exposed the Smithsonian and Black Native American Hebrew, right? And we're gonna get into it. We're gonna play a little clip. And we're gonna look at this thumbnail from a third eye point of view. Where they got this so-called black Tamarican, this aborigine, this primordial Tamarican Managa, this aborigine, this army indigene on the front of the thumbnail, you know, feathered up, pearls on, naga hair. Then we got Glenn in the back, you know, Glenn in the back saying, I told y'all, man, America got something to hide. America got a dark ancient Hebrew past, a dark history. Glenn Beck say America got a dark history, my naga. We're gonna break it down. So we see what's on that thumbnail, but let's get into the show. Salute to everybody in the house, salute to the members, salute to the subscribers. If you ain't subscribed, go ahead and do so now. Hit the like, subscribe, and share the video. If you want to support monetarily, we got the Cash App at the top of the screen, cash.app/$ House of Cons. And we also got www.strictlyformynagas.com. And we got that pinned at the top of the chat if you want to check out some of the merchandise we got. We got some new stuff on the way. We've been sitting back designing stuff. You know what I'm saying? We scrutinize our own work heavy over here before we just pop off with anything, you know. We try to dare to be different. We try to dare to be original. Just like we do it strictly for my nagas. We be uploading shirts and stuff. But like I said, we got designs on the back burner we ain't even put out yet. You know, we want to critique our own stuff first and make sure it's on point before we put it out for the tribe. Salute, tribe up. Let's get into it. Let's get into what Glenn Beck had to say about the Smithsonian and the dark Native American Hebrew, right? I'm gonna hear exactly what Glenn had to say. I'm gonna pause for the calls with the music. We can always bring the soundtrack back. But we're gonna pop off with Glenn Beck, see what Glenn got to say. So let me pull up a little window. Let me open the window, my naga. Hold on, here we go. Hold on, wait a minute, y'all. Wait a minute. I'm trying to. I don't know. Sometimes my deal want to act crazy. Okay, I see it's on top. Why ain't it showing it? Hold on. Let me do one more thing, y'all. I changed some stuff on my All right, there we go. But see, why is it showing all this extra stuff? That shouldn't even be shown. Nah, that's not the one I wanted to pull up. Hold on, y'all. I'm gonna do it another way because you know what I'm saying. I don't know why. I got it set up, but I'm clicking on it now. All right, hold on. Browser source. Image source. Yeah, it won't show it for some reason. All right, okay. I got another way. We'll just do it the old way. We'll go to it like this. Salute.
You big dummy.
You know, Ustream. You know, YouTube always want to throw a wrench in the. Hey, HSV Overwatch in the house. I always want to throw a wrench in my plan. You know what I'm saying? But it's all good. I got other ways to get around. You know, one mic it don't start no show. You know, it's more than one way to skin a cat. You know what I'm saying? Glenn Beck about to skin a cat. He telling y'all that, look, man, these Nagas in America, these Tamaricans, there's something different about them. Let's get into it. Fair use, YouTube.
Is made up of 606 feet, 606 feet, 606 feet, 606 feet, 606. It's made up of stades, exactly the same. Now, if that's not interesting enough, look at the angle of the Great Pyramid of Giza. If you take the angle of the Great Pyramid of Giza, the slope is 51.8 degrees. Let's go back to the earthworks. If you measure the line that goes straight through the center of the structure, right here, and then you go true north, it's 51.8 degrees. That angle is exactly the same angle as the pyramids of Giza. It is the same math, the same calculations as ancient Egyptians. Let me show you one more connection. In 1860, David Wyrick, he's a guy who surveyed the Newark earthworks. He was digging into a mound near those earthworks, and he found a wooden coffin made of oak. They opened up the coffin and found a skeleton of a man holding a little box. It was about 8.10 inches in size. The box had been cemented shut.
Fair use.
Here. This, by the way, is sitting in Ohio. Well, he opened up the box and he found a little man inside, a little black stone.
A little black stone.
They took it to scholars, and they looked at it. The man seems to be carrying something, and there's writing here. At first, they couldn't recognize. The writing is, they thought in 1860, some sort of Hebrew.
No, it said it was no. It said the Tamaricans had no writing. They said you Nagas had no writing. They said you had no written language. They told a bunch of lies about you. They knew exactly what you was writing. They knew exactly what your language was. That's why they stole your language. Hid your language.
Well, finally, about 20 years later, they found some rabbis living in the area, and the rabbis looked at that, and they could read it. They said it was an old kind of block Hebrew.
Old Hebrew. You old blockhead Hebrew. You an old Hebrew. You original kind. You just ain't even know it.
A block Hebrew, and it was a rendition of the Ten Commandments. Now, this is another piece. Block Hebrew. They said they'd never seen anything like it. Mainstream archaeologists.
They said we never seen anything like this. They said we never seen anything like it. They said we gotta hide this. This is because it's called the Smithsonian. We need to cover up. Matter of fact, say they had no language, no written language. Tribe Buck, the real Tony Bell in the house, salute. They just write down and they just hide all this in the Smithsonian. And we just gonna say these folks ain't have no written language. Matter of fact, we gonna say they wasn't even black. We gonna say they was red, man.
Sit your $5 ass down before I make change. You big dummy.
That's what we gonna say. We finna hide all this.
At the time called this a hoax. But then in 1900, or just about after 1900, in Israel, they found the same block-style Hebrew writing.
Right, they got it from over here?
Archaeologists still dismiss the findings. They found it in Israel, and they found it in Ohio.
In Ohio, what's the real Israel, though? Israel is a people, not a land. So who is the real Israel? I think we know.
But there was another stone that they found that they couldn't argue. This is the Bat Creek stone. It was found during the course of an official Smithsonian evacuation.
You can't argue this time.
The Smithsonian didn't understand the meaning of the writing on the stone. They thought it was Cherokee, since it came from Cherokee country.
Thought it was Cherokee, huh? So they ain't have no writing. They said the Tamarican ain't have no
They
writing.
didn't realize that it's actually Hebrew. They had published this originally upside down. They threw it in a box at the bottom of the Smithsonian, put it in the basement. Many years later, a scholar took it out of the box, looked at it, and went, oh my gosh, it's upside down. It's Phoenician, ancient Hebrew.
Ancient Hebrew, yeah. Ancient Hebrew, Paleo Hebrew, original Hebrew, original kind. Lost tribes. You the only one in the world lost. Yo, you the only one got a lost history, a lost name, a lost land on your own land. You the only one. And you think this some kind of coincidence? You think this a big joke or a big game, huh? But Glenn Beck know better than that.
So what's going on here?
Huh? Huh? He said,
What
what's
is that
going
about?
on? Huh?
Where is that history?
Where's your history? Where's your history?
I'll show you in a few minutes, and we're going to have a conversation. I'm going to show you some more things that the Smithsonian, science, government, commerce colluded to erase. By the way, I want to thank the directors of the documentary
they got
Lost
together.
Civilization.
It was a big conspiracy, huh? It was, oh, what a coincidence. It was a big conspiracy to hide it all, huh? Why would they lie, Blackjack? Why would they do it? Why would they lie about it? We should be past why.
Nations of North America for bringing these stories to my attention. I was blown away. To find more, visit the website lostcivilizationdvd.com. Here's the thing we should be asking ourselves. I don't know the story of these. Do you know that? Did you know that?
Yeah.
Do you live in Ohio and did you know that?
No, they didn't know it.
Why not? Were the American Indians wronged? Yes. Yes, and that's what we focus on in America. Is we were bad to the American. Forget about it. It's in the past.
No,
the question
it's not the
should
past.
be
It's
the
still
ones
going down
that the
right
founders
now.
asked. Who are they? What
Who are
knowledge
you?
do they have? Can you imagine the difference we would have now if we would put our differences aside and put our past in the past and concentrate on today?
Oh, you want to put the black and white stuff in the past. You want to put the differences aside, huh, Glenn? I ain't mad at you, Glenn. At least Glenn being honest.
And say, let's learn from each other. What do you have? What is that? What is that? When we come back, I'm going to be joined by Peter Lilback, who is, I've told you before, is one of my favorite authors. He's going to talk to me a little bit about the founders here. And I'm also going to show you some documents that show how that history has been erased. Next.
Glenn said he's going to show you
This
how
is the
it's been
Smithsonian
erased.
Annual Report, 1882, 1883. This is John Wesley Howell. This is an original copy. John Wesley Howell in 1789. Again, this is Powell. This is the director of the Bureau of Ethnology at the Smithsonian Institute. He said this. Artifacts found prior to Christopher Columbus's arrival would be considered illegitimate by the Smithsonian.
Oh, the Hebrew artifacts illegitimate, huh? Let's say all that Hebrew writing is illegitimate. We'll say they had no writing.
Savage Indian culture would be observed.
Oh, savage. Oh, wow.
He said this. Artifacts found prior to Christopher Columbus's arrival would be considered illegitimate by the Smithsonian. Only the savage Indian culture would be observed. And
what kind of savage Indian, Glenn? I think the French might know. Matter of fact, for anybody that might be new to the channel, let's go on and pull one up. Let's see what kind of savage Indians the French and all the other colonizers was talking about when they was saying only, let's say, forget the Hebrew stuff, only show the savage Indian culture. What the savage Indian culture looked like. Like this, huh? Oh, okay, we get it, Glenn. The antique consulate period, all bone savage, pendule all negre, mantle clock of the la Marique, American, Indian Managa. Anybody that don't know, everybody that been here know what we getting at. The pendule all negre. The Arbonne savage. Oh, only observing the savage culture. All right, let's continue, Glenn. Glenn say they only observing the savage culture.
This created the artificial barrier to science. Only the savage.
James Williams.
Science was colluding with government because of commerce, and religion was involved. Now, why do I tell you all this stuff? Not because I'm an Indian expert or anything else. You got to do your own homework. I just found out about this stuff. I'm amazed by it. I don't know what the answer is on this. The reason why I bring it up is the stock is not bad. The soup went bad, but the stock is not. Peter Lilback, Dr. Peter Lilback.
He say the soup went bad.
Right, sir?
He say the stock good, though. He say these knockers Israelites. He say the soup bad, though. He say the stock good, but the soup bad. He say they got these knockers thinking they African Americans. He said these knockers is Israelites. These knockers bold and narrowed up, don't even know who they is. That's what Glenn Beck say. Glenn Beck say the stock is good. They ain't mixed out.
The reason why I bring it up is the stock is not bad. The soup went bad, but the stock is not. Peter Lilback, Dr. Peter Lilback. How are you, sir?
Good to see you.
This is a book that needs to be owned by every American. Every single American should have this book in their home. It's called Sacred Fire. These are the words of George Washington, and it takes history absolutely apart, not on somebody's opinion, but on their own words, on his words. Peter, I want to go to you and talk to you a little bit about, again, the stock. George Washington had a good relationship. Our founders had a good relationship with the Native Americans, right?
There's no question about that. When they came to America, they realized they could not survive without a close relationship with the Indian people. The greatest story, for example.
Yeah, they was starving. They had to ask you how to eat. Because you was tilling your own land.
Is the Pilgrims who are blown off course. 800 miles out of their destination in Virginia, they're in Massachusetts. They land on ground, and they're in the middle of nowhere, no government. They make the Mayflower Compact, so they have government when they land. And there's no Native Americans there because a plague had gone through, but one person shows up.
What the plague? The paper genocide plague? You call them Africans now, or slaves, or Negroes? You mean that kind of plague? It's a stronghold of the Nagas. Nagas ain't never went nowhere.
A Native American that knew English. He'd actually been taken captive to England. He'd learned English. He'd gotten his freedom. He came back as people were gone. The white settlers are there all of a sudden, and he meets them and he says, welcome. He speaks English. They couldn't believe it. The providence of that moment is extraordinary. They needed help, and there was a person there to help them, and he was a Native American.
Right.
And that creates Massachusetts.
All right. Do I have time for one more story real quick? No? Okay. Hang on, because I want to come back and talk about, William Penn. Because William Penn said something when he was working with the Indians that is critical to understand the truth, I think, about America. And we'll do that next.
Yeah, Glenn lost his job after
The history that has been erased in our nation, and in particular with the Native Americans, happened because it didn't fit the story they created.
He said it didn't fit the story. He say the history of the American Indians in America was erased because it didn't fit the script, Managa.
Truth, I think, about America, and we'll do that next.
Say why? Why would they lie? Why would the government lie? Why would they teach you lies in school?
The history that has been erased in our nation, and in particular with the Native Americans, happened because it didn't fit the story they created, Manifest Destiny. It only works when Indians were savages, and they had to have savages for commerce and government to expand.
They had to have savages.
The ancient artifacts prove otherwise. Why aren't we looking into those? Peter Lilback is the
They
president
had to have
of Providence
savages, Managa.
and the author of George Washington's Sacred Fire. Okay, Peter. I think a great place for Americans to understand the truth about Americans and Native Americans and African Americans, all commerce and government
Native
to
Americans.
expand.
Oh, you want
The
to say
ancient artifacts
African?
prove
Oh,
otherwise.
Glenn,
Why
what
aren't
you
we
doing?
looking into those? Peter Lilbeck is the president of Providence Forum and the author of George Washington's Sacred Fire. Okay, Peter. I think a great place for Americans to understand the truth about Americans and Native Americans and African Americans, all of it. It comes from William Penn. Tell the story.
Great story. Philadelphia, the great founder.
Call him savage.
Do I have time for one more story real quick? No? Okay, hang on, because I want to come back and talk about, I want to talk about William Penn. Because William Penn said something when he was working with the Indians that is critical to understand the truth, I think, about America.
Oh, the truth,
and we'll do that next.
The truth, huh?
The history that has been erased in our nation, and in particular with the Native Americans, happened because it didn't fit the story they created, Manifest Destiny. It only works when Indians were savages, and they had to have savages
when you was a
for
savage.
commerce and government to expand.
When you
The ancient
was a
artifacts
savage,
prove
the
otherwise. Why
Pendula
aren't we looking
Nigre.
into those? Peter Lilbeck is the president of Providence Forum
That's the
and
only way
the
it
author of
worked.
George Washington's Sacred
When
Fire.
you was a
Okay, Peter.
savage.
I think a great place for Americans to understand the truth about Americans and Native Americans and African Americans, all of it. It comes from William Penn. Tell the story.
Great story. Philadelphia, the great founding city of the United States. That's where government began. It was founded by William
slanging
Penn. He
these
wanted a
terms
city
around.
without
He just
walls.
leaving
And he determined
breadcrumbs.
that he would do it by making a constant commitment to justice and ethics with the
people
Native
goofy,
Americans.
man.
There never was an Indian war with William Penn. And there's a
People goofy
wonderful...
for real, man. All these terms, y'all. Savage this, nigger that. It's on paper. It's on the written record, my nigga. Not just in books and literature and paintings and clocks. It's in the government record. It's on census records, military records, birth certificates, death certificates. It's on war records. And some of our people still don't realize they talking about us. All this savage stuff. All this colored this. Sister Soul Man Radio in the house. Salute. I mean, I just can't fathom how somebody could be so blind at this point, my nigga. With the amount and the evidence. Mountain of evidence, but not only the mountain of evidence, but our people can't even get away from calling themselves savages. Y'all know y'all love when that Megan Thee Stallion come on. I'm a savage. Y'all like when that little Webby come on. That savage life. Y'all love that, right? We love that, right? We don't even know why though, huh? You gotta connect the dots. Who else on earth calling themselves a savage? Who? What? Matter of fact, not who else on earth. Like we just talking white and black. Who else? What other group of people on earth? Period. Shit. Let's just stick it to the so-called black people then, the quote-unquote black people. What other group of black people on earth calling themselves savage and celebrating it, just like calling yourself the N-word and celebrating it? Who else doing that? And we get over and over and over again. We got other people telling us too. Telling us on video. Leaving breadcrumbs from the past, telling us that they don't even teach you about, they don't dare teach you about this. Over and over again. Reminding you, look at, he dressed like a slave. Wasn't them croaker slacks? What them croaker slacks he got on? Reminding us over and over again who the savage is. I mean, at this point, I don't respect any institution. I don't respect the news. To me, this should be the news that should be getting reported. To me, the mainstream media and the education system should be saying, hey, wait a minute, man, look at this. You know what? We got independent researchers. They done figured it out. This is one big lie. Look at the mountain of evidence. Nobody's doing it. they doing like the Smithsonian, sweeping it right up under the rug, right? They saying forget that. Let's it gotta fit the narrative. They say forget that. So what? Africans ain't dressed like that. We'll call you African anyway. I mean, what it's gonna take? This should be common knowledge at this point. It ain't a secret. It never was. But it should be mainstream. Especially while they're talking about quote unquote black history in schools. This should be at the front of the conversation. If we're gonna talk black history and teaching it or quote unquote black history, first off, let's get the name right. Let's have indigenous history instead of black or African American history. Let's have indigenous history. And let's dig back really into it and expose the fact that it's us. But no, let's just take it off the table. And knockers can't even see what's going on. They said, nah, you know what? Instead of exposing all this Arbonne Savage stuff, instead of exposing all this the savage Indian culture, instead of exposing all this what Glenn Beck talking about, why not just take it all the way off the table? So you got knockers fighting to argue for the slave trade, for the African diaspora, fictitious story to be left on the table. They're telling you, nah, let's just put it all off the table. Your argument should be, no, let's put the truth on the table. Like what Glenn Beck talking about. It's starting to get disgusting how much evidence it is and how many people just still very, very ignorant in 2020. It's almost 2024. You got, what, less than 4 months? 2024, 4 months away, and you got people, you got a world full of people passionately, emotionally invested in being ignorant and not and living a lie. It's hilarious to me, and you can't blame it on you. It's to a point where it can't even be blamed on being I was indoctrinated or brainwashed. Man, all that's over with. That's past. Now you got independent stuff going on out here, and people flooding the internet with it. Only thing I can say is willful ignorance at this point. If you still call yourself a Pan-African or African American, any of that stuff, you willfully ignorant. You willfully, because we making so much noise on this side of the fence that you can't help but hear it. So if you hearing the noise and you saying, forget what them niggas talking about, you being willfully ignorant. And a lot of our people being willfully ignorant. Willfully ignorant, monogamous. So willfully ignorant, they will look at this and it clearly says Amarik, and they would say that's an African. you know the devil got you good when the truth right in front of your eyes. And you say, no, the devil told me that was African, he black.
You big dummy.
These Bone Savage clocks, I always go back to them. You know why? Y'all know why I always go back to them? Because it's one of the most damning pieces of evidence about your true history and your identity. If not the most damning. This and those tobacco Indians. I ain't going to let up on them. I'm going to keep reminding them. This is the most damning evidence. These are the images. Yeah, the books are great. The literature great. Some white man wrote or some other man wrote telling about it. Yeah, it was niggas over there. It was Nagas. Right? Oh, that's great. But when you got these, all the people streaming and reading content and all that's great. But when you got these images, hundreds of years old, not only on clocks, on maps, on tobacco statues, on calendar holders, made by different nations, don't know what else you need. You don't need one book. You don't need to read one racial integrity act. You don't need to read one census record. All you gotta do is believe your eyes of what somebody telling you. It's to the point where people that's willfully ignorant, I don't even got time for them. And I honestly look at them as some form of an enemy. Because one thing about it, you can lie to yourself, but you'll never lie to me. You can live a lie all you want to, but I never will. I never will. We're going to tribe up and we're going to keep pushing. And I'm Blackjack, this House of Cons, man. Y'all tribe, I appreciate the whole tribe, man. Everybody in the house appreciate the chat, you know what I'm saying? Salute, man. We out. Peace.